future of Septa is on the line.
A lot of people will be upset and very inconvenienced.
In less than 2 weeks, the daily commute for millions could change dramatically.
It's not going to work. It's going to get ugly.
Strapped for cash and with no clear funding lifeline, Septa now poised to slash services and hike fares.
Nobody's thinking about how it's affecting us middle-income families.
Tonight, Action News is giving you an in-depth look at where the impasse stands and the ripple effects it could unleash on nearly everyone in the region.
It's just going to be such a pain to have to figure out how to get home without Septa.
From more complicated commutes to more cars on the roads to the impact on kids who depend on Septa to get to school.
Attendance is always an issue, and the more barriers you put up for kids, the more kids don't show up.
A special edition of Action News,
Bus is turning.
Commuter Crisis, starts right now.
I'm Shari Williams alongside Brian Taff. We are taking a deep dive into the challenges Septa is currently facing. Gridlock over funding the transit agency continues with no solution in sight.
Yeah, tonight Septa's message is plainly clear. Service cuts are coming, and you need to get ready now. Anytime during this program, you can scan that QR code on your screen to access all of our in-depth reporting on this critical issue. But here's where things stand right now. Two key committees in the Democratic-led Pennsylvania House voted today to reject the bill passed last night in the Republican-led Senate. And as of right now, neither the House nor the Senate have any more votes planned. And with Septa's self-imposed deadline to get a deal now just more than 24 hours away.
Tonight, still facing a $213 million budget shortfall, Septa says it is moving forward with its sweeping cuts. Our team is here to help navigate this looming commuter crisis, from the impact on thousands of school students to finding other ride alternatives to how all of this could impact you even if you don't use Septa. Let's begin with Sarah Bloomquist live at the Septa headquarters. Sarah.
Brian and Shari, the concern here at Septa is that riders are not preparing for what's ahead. As Brian just said, these service cuts are coming, and they're coming just as students are heading back to school and hundreds of thousands of workers are getting back into the groove of heading to work after the summer months.
They're going to be swamped with people trying to get places.
Very frustrating, especially for people like me who depend on Septa to get, from one side of the city to another.
Everything for everybody is going to get a little worse.
It's going to be an adjustment, at the very least, for all of our customers.
Septa riders, get ready. Without additional state funding, Septa plans to address its $213 million deficit by raising fares by more than 20% and cutting almost half of its services beginning Sunday, August 24th. Initially, 32 bus routes will be eliminated and regional rail service significantly reduced. The next day, August 25th, classes begin for students in the school district of Philadelphia, which estimates 52,000 students use public transportation.
It's going to mean, the kids taking additional transfers, having to take bus routes that are unfamiliar to them.
If needed, a deeper round of service reductions will begin January 1st. Even more bus routes and 5 regional rail lines would be eliminated. Dozens of transit stations would shut down, and all service will stop at 9 p.m.
We're going to have ambassadors out on the system talking to our customers, helping them, including the day of the service cuts and thereafter, to try to help guide them around.
Riders will need to adjust. For reference, on August 24th, the average wait time on regional rail midday will increase from 1 to 2 hours.
We think one thing that's important for people to keep in mind with these service cuts is that even if they don't use Septa, it's going to impact them.
Transportation experts estimate an additional 275,000 cars on the local roads, close to the population of Pittsburgh. Delays on already congested highways such as the Schuylkill or I-95 will get worse.
So if you think of yourself in stop-and-go traffic now, with more cars, there will still be stop-and-go traffic, but when you stop, you will stop for longer.
So in addition, Septa's special service to the sports complex for sporting events there in South Philadelphia, that will also end on August 24th. And this reminder, the Eagles home opener is set for September 4th. Matt Pellman will have more on the overall impact of the traffic coming up in just a short time. Shari, back to you.
Well, Sarah, the impacts are so far-reaching. So what happens, if we're optimistic here, what happens to service if somehow funding comes through at any point after tomorrow's midnight deadline?
Well, if that midnight deadline passes, those service cuts go into effect without a doubt on August 24th, that Sunday. If somehow a funding deal is reached after tomorrow's deadline, Septa says it will take 2 weeks to get service back to normal. Shari and Brian, back to you.
Yeah, Sarah, you laid out so plainly this impacts everybody, not just those who ride on Septa. Thank you so much. Well, tonight all eyes are on Harrisburg, where budget talks are frankly at a standstill right now.
Action News reporter Chad Perdelli live for us now at the Pennsylvania Capitol with the very latest at where things stand now. Chad.
Well, here in Harrisburg, it is known that tomorrow's deadline is not going to be met, and Septa is planning and expecting cuts. But Septa GM Scott Sauer gave a glimmer of hope today when I spoke with him. He said if a deal can be reached here in the next week or so, he will do everything in his power to make sure they don't happen. Late today, House Democratic leader from Montgomery County, Matt Bradford, warned Septa riders to plan for service cuts, with a deal unlikely to be reached by tomorrow's deadline.
I think they need to be prepared. I think everyone recognizes what will flow from this if the legislature fails to reach agreement, but there is real impacts, and we are well cognizant of that.
It comes after Democrats killed the Senate's mass transit funding bill this afternoon. It would have tapped into the state's Public Transportation Trust Fund to give SEPTA and other transit agencies additional dollars. Bradford says the money is already earmarked for existing capital improvement projects across the state. Republicans say there's money there to create a 2-year bridge until a more sustainable funding source can be agreed upon in both chambers.
Were you satisfied with PennDOT's explanation of the trust fund balance?
No. I mean, the idea that dollars can be flexed, the governor proved that. You know how many shovel-ready projects were ready in rural Pennsylvania when those dollars got flexed to bail out SEPTA?
This is a flex of SEPTA's capital dollars to SEPTA's operating budget, and that was always unacceptable.
Democrats proposed a previous bill last week that would have used a bigger share of sales tax money to fill the mass transit budget shortfalls. Republicans say the bill didn't spell out which budget line items would see cuts as a result.
There's a willingness, it looks like now, in both chambers to recognize the challenge. Now we've got to fill in some of those blanks, recognize that everyone's not going to get what they want.
And you hear these lawmakers talk about an additional dedicated funding source for mass transit and SEPTA. And one gaining traction amongst Republicans and even some Democrats is taxes on games of skill. But there's a lot of work to be done there. Live in Harrisburg, Chad Perdelli, Channel 6, Action News. Brian, Shari.
All right. Good to hear the latest from there at the Capitol. Chad, thanks. Tonight, tens of thousands of students who rely on SEPTA to get to are in limbo. Without the crucial funding, SEPTA's service cuts would go into effect August 24th.
So many parents know that is just one day before kids in the school district of Philadelphia go back to class. Action News reporter Taronda Thomas joining us live at district headquarters in Spring Garden now with a look at what could be the devastating ripple effect as it relates to schools, Taronda.
Well, Brian and Shari, there are more than 198,000 students in the school district of Philadelphia, and more than a quarter of them rely on SEPTA to get to and from school. Well, now parents are not just saddled with that problem, they're also tasked with finding their own solutions.
She goes to an art school.
Not riding the big yellow bus, but the big white one with the blue and red stripes.
Her traveling time for high school is over an hour.
Autumn Fingerhut's daughter, Olivia, has taken SEPTA to school for much of her young life.
She started taking the bus when she was in 6th grade.
But now Autumn is concerned about reduced routes that could result from a lack of SEPTA funding. The warning signs are already at bus stops near her neighborhood.
There will be discontinued service on this route.
And even the bus routes that stay could have issues.
Longer waiting times.
Olivia is just one of the 52,000 students in the school district of Philadelphia who rely on SEPTA to get to and from school.
It's really important that we do everything we can
to fulfill our obligation to make sure that they have transportation to school.
School District of Philadelphia Superintendent Tony Watlington encourages parents to make a plan, considering options like carpools. The district also offers what could be a possible solution for some parents. It's called the Parent Flat Rate Program.
They drop their students off and pick them up at dismissal. They can get $300.
That's $300 per month per household.
Your child has to live more than a mile and a half from the location of their school.
It could be just the solution some parents need, but it won't work for Autumn, who has 3 jobs and would have to leave one of them to drive her daughter to school.
I need to work because I have to provide for my family.
It's just going to be devastating.
Jesse Abrams-Morley is a teacher at Kensington Kappa with no car. His entire family relies on Septa, but he's not just worried about them. He's also worried about his students.
You're just going to have more kids getting there late, more kids not showing up. And again, you know, we need kids in school.
Nearly twice as many students ride Septa compared to the yellow school buses, and right now, adding more yellow buses is not an option.
There's a shortage of bus drivers.
So now it's up to parents to figure things out as the debate over transportation funding continues in Harrisburg.
They're debating politics.
Autumn among the many parents now looking for a path forward.
This is going to affect all of us.
Now, we know some Catholic school students also rely on Septa. I did reach out to the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and they say right now they don't have anything concrete to pass along when it comes to a potential impact. Now, for those of you parents who are interested in that Parent Flat Rate program from the School District of Philadelphia, the application process is open right now. We have a link on our website, 6abc.com/links. In Spring Garden, Taronda Thomas, Channel 6 Action News.
Thanks, Taronda. And again, all of that available just by scanning that QR code right there on your screen.
Action News commuter crisis continues live next with the rush to reroute. As Septa cuts loom, we are looking into other ways to get around. We'll break down some services from ride sharing to carpooling.
Also, fewer buses means more cars. Details on how Septa's service cuts could double your commute time, even if you don't use public transit.